Go with the last little hour of the week, 545-9950. If you want to get in on it, bring it as we head into what could be a rainy weekend. Of course, it could start tonight, too. There's rain built up on the radar heading generally toward the area. Let me just give you a quick, to me, I didn't see this coming, but I'm not the weather forecaster, am I? I just repeat what they tell me. But we've got rain on the forecast that could get in here about 7 or 8 tonight. Could be kind of strong. So that may be indeed the first round rather than early in the morning. Then a couple of rounds kind of sporadically in the morning. It could redevelop in the evening. The evening version could be a little more intense. But it's not a complete washout this weekend. Could be some sun in the afternoon tomorrow. And all of this, of course, depends on exactly where you are. If you're to the west of me, you're going to need... you're going to get more of this stuff earlier. If you're to the south and east, of course, it's coming in from that direction, more of a typical direction when we have frontal systems coming through the state. The good news is they haven't really raised the intensity potential for this thing. So it's very low level. It's an outside chance, so they're still saying keep an eye on it, but an outside chance nonetheless. I just wish I could get this wood pile dried out so I could burn this thing. Saturday would be a good day for me to do that. But now this rain will, after it rains like that, it's going to be 3, 4, 5 days for it to dry out again. And so I'll get to it. Y'all will get to it, whatever projects you've got going on. But so hit or miss. Again, first round tonight, round 8-ish, depending on where you are. And then more rain in the morning, a little bit of a break from it, sort of midday, and redevelopment tomorrow night in the evening. My man Danny Knowles bringing you the show tonight with the KnowlesGroup.com. Let's take a look at how the markets closed. Despite all the turmoil in the world and everything that's going on, the markets were up today. Green day on the markets. Dow up 278, NASDAQ up 251. Almost gained back what it lost on that big down day when the shooting started. Nothing new on that front. We've not seen any reinvigorated Iranian bombing. And the oil markets aren't having these wild mood swings. You've got a natural rise anytime there's more conflict and a little bit of a decrease every time things look resolved. So we're going to keep yo-yoing through this thing. There's speculation that Trump's going to plan something big starting this weekend because of the whole Camp David setup today. That's one of his moves. Hunker down in Camp David, go through it with the cabinet, and then big stuff starts happening. But if there's anything that's predictable about the Trump administration is he is unpredictable. So you can count on that. But my man Danny Knowles, day in and day out, helping you with those financial decisions, helping you set up your plan. Look, some of y'all are sophisticated. Maybe you're good with a spreadsheet. But there are others out there that just you don't really know what your retirement goal is. Because sometimes it's a calendar date out in the future that also depends on the money. Sometimes it's you don't care about the calendar date. You'll work as long as you need to, but you need to get to this goal to have enough to be secure. Figuring that out is the first part, and that's what they can do for you at the Knowles Group. And then getting a plan from now till then is the next thing, and having the discipline to do it. So they're good at all that, getting you on track, placing those investments according to your risk tolerance and your timeline, and then coaxing you and coaching you to get the best out of you to stick to those commitments and get you there with sound advice. That's the way Danny's always been. He's a lifelong friend of mine and has always been a straight shooter. He really has. Just somebody that says it when nobody else will say it, and that's what you want in your financial advisor. So even if you're sophisticated and you understand markets and money, it's good to get that third-party verification on what you want to do. And if you're a little more naive about it, it's definitely something you need to do to make sure you can move forward. It is the Knowles Group. Y'all listen to their show, too, tomorrow here on the station. I think it's 2:30 both Saturday and Sunday here on the station, Understanding Money with the Knowles boys. And y'all can check them out on the weekend while you're out running around doing your things. Let's see what else we got here. I was going to get into, I didn't want to get too heavy. I've still got stuff coming in on this Spanish invasion. I don't want to drag it down too much. Let me throw some different things at you, and then maybe we'll revisit that at the end. First up, this Nancy Guthrie thing is back in the news again. I kept seeing her face pop up on the feed, and I saw it pop up on Fox a little while ago, and I thought, what's new with her? And apparently there's another note. Again, it's TMZ. I'm starting to suspect TMZ just milking the clicks on this one. They have just, I know they're not a traditional news outlet, but they have involved themselves in this story, I think, in an unhealthy way. They're doing it too with this little young man that drowned down in Mississippi, which people are trying to exploit with zero evidence. They're kind of becoming, they're like the new Nancy Grace of tabloid TV. But anyway, so they're reporting tonight there's a new note that I guess authorities are giving some credence to, that says that Nancy Guthrie died shortly after her abduction. She's been dead the whole time. And I don't know that the families had a reaction. I see a thing on my screen now where Savannah Guthrie's back out making a public plea for somebody to do the right thing. I think the family, after all this time, is, especially with her health condition, is resigned to just finding her body. And that's bad enough. But there's that story in the news. Carol Robinson over at AOL.com has a piece up, and I won't go too deeply into it. She just put it up a little while ago, and I haven't had a chance to sort of paraphrase it. But there's been a body found over in Talladega County, and it started with an evacuation of this area, making people leave it because they wanted to get in there and do some investigation. I'm sure they were the way the story read when I read the first couple of paragraphs, there had been some investigative evidence that led them down a trail that they thought was going to be the discovery of a body. And indeed, they have found what they were looking for. So that sounds like, on the front end, some pretty good police work over in Talladega County. So just letting you know that story's out there. And then I got to address this because I just heard it during the break. I was listening to the 1819 news break, and Doug Jones not liking the Choose Act here in Alabama, where parents get a chance to have some funds that can travel with them to a school of their choice for the kids. Now, most of you understand why that works and how it got passed and the value of it. But again, he's a Democrat running without a whole lot to cling to in a state where that party is becoming increasingly less popular. He's hoping for a fluke. They didn't get the disqualification of Tuberville. So he's hoping to fluke on in there like he did the last time. And as far as I know, everybody I know, Doug Jones is a decent guy. He's just wrong on the policy. He's really wrong on the policy. And so what he's bitching about is getting rid of the Choose Act because it's harming the government schools. That's not an exact quote from him, but the argument that I heard from 1819 just now about his opposition to parents having the ability, some of which for the first time who would not have had the resources to move their kids to a better situation, including into private schools. Democrats and government-oriented people that are beholden to the teachers union always hate that because they do not want competition. And so one of the arguments, I was sitting here listening to it, getting ready for the next segment, and it was something along the lines of, it's taking money away from the government schools. And these programs, some of these private schools aren't even vetted by the government. Why? We don't have enough government in your kids' brains. And I'm sitting here thinking that's the whole reason for it. And what about choose? Does he not understand ask yourself, who's making the choice in this scenario? It's the parent. And leftists and Democrats don't believe the kids belong to the parents. All you need to do is look at the transgender issue around the country to understand that. They believe your kids are wards of the state, and the state has to monitor what they learn and what they don't learn and to approve of it. You don't get to say that. You don't get to move them and take your own damn tax money with you to move them. It's up to us, the state first, the worship at the foot of the state itself and this disastrous K through 12 system that they built all these years all over the country. It is an exception when you find one that's excellent. Mostly you find mediocrity and a lot of laziness and terrible education, which is why we're getting our ass kicked all over the world in math and science and other disciplines. Our public education system is just a calamity. And Alabama's trying to do something that would fix it or at least address it. And those two things involve competition. By the way, if the government school where these parents are choosing to leave would do a little better, the parents wouldn't leave. I'm just saying, if the parents had a choice in most cases, they would leave. And we trapped them by their zip code. You get trapped by your address into the school you're assigned to. So in my case, let's say that school has an ignorant 8th grade English teacher that barely knows English. Well, I had that in my hometown growing up. We had a this really stupid woman that couldn't pronounce English as an English teacher in the 8th grade. We didn't have any choice. That was our school. She was the teacher. You hit 8th grade, you're retarded for a year. It's just true. And that's how the government schools do it. It's one size fits all, no flexibility. Parents don't get a choice. You get assigned like robots, like you're on some kind of Chinese labor camp based on your address where you got to go sit and who you get assigned to. You introduce a little choice in it, and the left gets heebie-jeebies. Suddenly they're claiming we're going to end it. Why? They're just protecting the jobs program that is the K through 12 system. That's all. The outcomes have been disastrous. We've had some improvement, but it's still not good enough. It's not good enough. We wouldn't put up with that mediocrity with our college football teams. But yeah, here we go. We put up with it time after time after time again. And Alabama finally gives parents a little bit of option and creates a little bit of competition to the schools. Their biggest fear on the left is that some of these private schools that these parents go to are going to outperform, that the kid's going to change environment, get away from the distractions and the stupidity in some of these schools and get a focused environment that's catered to them and actually improves their education. They're afraid of that. They're not afraid that the kids are going to not learn things in the private schools that they're choosing. They're afraid they're going to learn things. They're afraid they're going to get shown up. It's kind of like the Republicans. I know it's kind of a stretch. It's like the Republicans on the border issue. What Trump has done to piss off a lot of official Washington, including people in his own party, is proved that a lot of the stuff they've been saying could actually be done. The stuff they kept saying they were going to do that they never did, suddenly he comes in with executive orders and does. Everything gets better, and then these sons of bitches want to run around and complain that they got shown that you can actually produce some results. The border itself, the Republicans year after year after year would fail to run over the Democrats, run through the Democrats, do the wall funding, increase the security. You had Lindsey Graham, who they lionized this week, who died last week. Lindsey Graham every single time trying to come up with a way to give amnesty to these people. And then Trump comes in, and within a few days, he stops the chaos. The border crossing stopped. There's no point in talking about amnesty now. We just stopped the flow. And then we have the Spanish situation that pops up, and all he's got to do is point and say, well, right now you're good, but you let these sellouts in the Congress and any of these people that would be president, even in the Republican side, get back in there. We go back to border invasions. We go back to the same thing that Spain is dealing with. And so that being results are results, and just going in and actually doing it is a big deal. And that's what the Choice Act is trying to do. If there's anything I give the Republicans credit for. And now, by the way, they've been infiltrated by the teachers union too here in the state. They will slowly give up on some of these things. There are already attempts to start having the state collect dues for the union in a mandatory way. They keep doing these things in the Republican Party and state government. But they did get that Choose Act passed. And granted, we were behind Arkansas, but every state that's done it is starting to see improvement. It's not going to be dramatic, but it's better than what we had. Why would you keep doing what you've been doing? So if Doug Jones wants to run on a campaign platform of mediocrity with a terrible brand name that can get 40% of the vote in the state, and yet he wants to deny, I thought all the Democrats were pro-choice. They're pro-choice until it comes to you deciding stuff for your kids. Then they're not. I mean, they want to decide whether to kill the kid or not early on. But after that, you don't get any choice. They're going to force them into this school, force them to get a vaccine shot, force them to stay home when the teachers don't want to work during a fake pandemic. They want to force everything. Kid decides they feel like a girl one day. They're not supposed to tell you about it. They want to wall them off from you and put them into some training conversion school. So they're not really pro-choice, are they? So anyway, I don't know. I was just irritated by that thought process. It's so dated and behind, and it flies in the face of what has become a successful program here in the state. All right, man, that's enough of that little rant. I got all heavy toward the end. We were actually enjoying the show there for a minute. Let me talk to you about FloorTech real quick. This is a remarkable company that I'm glad has been on with us for a few weeks now. It's a unique product that can really be an improvement, and a nice improvement and a quality improvement on your home. And that is coating those concrete floors, especially in garage spaces, or even showroom spaces or other commercial applications where you've got a typical poured concrete floor that's just sitting there like a sponge, soaking up stains and spills and oil and everything that happens in these spaces. Once you get it coated, it's easier to maintain. It always looks beautiful. The problem has been in that industry over time, those products are inferior. The previous products before FloorTech were just thinned out with solvents and thinners to stretch out, I guess, the profitability of the product. But the product started sucking. I did this years ago, put that stuff down, and immediately it yellowed, and then it faded, and then it started peeling. And people get frustrated with that and just accepted, well, this stuff just it can't possibly last. Until Kevin comes along and says, no, there's got to be a better way. So they took all the crap out of it. They took the impurities out of the product and came up with a purer product that they so stand behind with all their lab testing that they'll guarantee it for the life of the home. Kevin told me this will be down longer than you'll be alive. I was like, I like that. And that warranty travels with the home if you ever sell it. So you can tell a potential buyer, yeah, the floor is covered. It's going to look good forever. It's not going to peel. It's not going to yellow. It's going to be the exact color you want. You got a lot of choices into getting the exact shade and the exact color and the exact chips or paint flakes or whatever it is you want to call it. It's a great company. I love that they're local and on the cutting edge of an entire industry. And you get to call them out to your house here around Birmingham. FloorTech, T-E-K, FloorTechCoatings.com. FloorTechCoatings.com. Y'all check them out online. Get them to come over and they'll demonstrate it to you. They'll tell you why they're better and show you that in person. Get this project done, and you'll feel so nice when you drive up at home to that nice garage at night after a long day. FloorTechCoatings.com. All right, y'all, let's talk about Allen and Company for a minute. Y'all know how much I appreciate the Thompson family. I can't even tell you how many years they've been on the show with us. I do know one of the traditions I look forward to every Christmas is being able to go down there and do our friends and family show that we do. They put on a spread. Everybody dresses up in their holiday attire, and then a lot of our listeners and their regular customers who seem to be the same will come in and hang out. We do a little reception. I do the show there. And then to me, that kind of gets Christmas kicked off, all the gift giving and the nice things. We're close. I'm telling you, we're close enough to start really considering some of that gift buying. If you're going to do something nice for somebody this year in the way of fine jewelry, go visit them at Allen and Company. Then you'll have real personal service. You don't get any more personal than a family that runs the place with their name on it and all of their two or three sometimes generations in there that really want you to walk away happy. They want you to take your time. There's zero pressure there. Look as long as you want. Think about it. Go home, come back, think about it again. And when you're ready, they're ready, and they'll create that piece or sell you something that they already have in the cabinets, or get it all done for you for that special person this year. Upgrades for people that married a long time to upgrade that diamond. They're ready to help you with that project. They can help you repurpose the old diamond into something new and special as well. Engagement settings, obviously. And then other type gift giving all over the shop. Just beautiful stuff. Get to know them, and then, of course, you'll want to use them for all your maintenance. When every now and then you got to have that stuff cleaned and resized and things fixed. And because we do wear it. It goes with us every day. It's around us, and things happen. It's Allen and Company. Y'all go see the Thompson family right there on Highway 31 in the middle of Vestavia on the main drag, Allen and Company. All right, let me go back to the Spanish situation. I didn't talk as much about that in the open. It's a story that's kind of gotten me by the boo-boo right now because of the implications for us down the road and, of course, for Europe right now. There's still video coming in. You know, it's nighttime over there, in the middle of the night. They have not, two situations, they've not really gotten a handle on the crossings. So this flow of people, this flow of these men continues into that particular city. And now we think some other places are being targeted. This is so organized. There's no way to describe it other than an invasion. It just is. And so, but now we're starting to see confrontations and violence. And that's something that it really frightens me the most when citizens feel like they've got to step into the streets to defend their communities against these kind of things because their own government has let them down. The Spanish are now there. We've seen the Irish have to do this this year after that damn near beheading in, actually this was Northern Ireland. We've seen riots and protests. Just last weekend, they had I think that was Saturday, they had the LGBTQ parade, and this Muslim jihadi rammed a car. The minute I heard that story, I mean, you try not to do too much presumptuous stuff, but I knew it was going to be 2 days before I was back on the air. As soon as I heard it, I went, Islam, that's Islam. Car attack, that's Islam. On an LGBTQ event, that's Islam. Of course, the leftists had no idea who to choose because they're trying to be on both sides of that equation. That's not going to end well for globalists and leftists. It's just not. They will. I'll just go ahead and warn y'all, LGBTQ friends, with much love, they're going to eat you alive. They will kill you. They will kill you first. And so they did. This dude attacked. And here's the backstory on him, based on the latest thing I've been able to read, is that this guy had already gotten in trouble with the law for some violence. They found out about his connections with ISIS, kicked him out of the country, and then some of the leftards in Germany let him back in under the condition that he go to a de-radicalization school. Is that like when you get a speeding ticket in a little town and they make you go to driver's class on Saturday? They thought they could have him go to a couple meetings and take all that jihadism straight out of him. It didn't work. He doubled down on it and killed those people. So Europe was already boiling before this happened the last 2 days. And now the reaction from the rest of the continent, because, hey man, if they get into that city, they might as well be in Norway, because it's all open. It's a open border system. And now that's falling apart. These countries are now stepping up for their own sovereignty and pulling out of those open borders agreements over this one incident. And it's because it's not one incident. This is the latest incident. This is the latest thing that has come at that continent. and they better deal with it. And it's probably too late, to be honest with you. It's generationally too late for the United Kingdom. But some of these countries have a chance to save themselves, and how they react to it for the rest of the weekend is going to be really important. And it's important for us to watch because we are months away from dealing with this again on our own border. It's just a fact. All right, bottom of the hour. We'll come back, take some phone calls, try to have some fun on the way out the door. Rain on the way here in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Y'all stay tuned. Leland Live. Man, it's 5:35, and I don't even know where the Friday went. We're just about to wrap things up for the weekend, so hang in here with us. If y'all want to get on the radio and throw anything at us, bring it. We've talked about cats, we've talked about bears, we've talked about Fauci, we've talked about all kinds of things so far today. We haven't talked about Stockton Mortgage. Stockton Mortgage, man, savewithstockton.com. Those guys always working late, always helping people get to the bottom of it. And if you just want to start out, I always talk about the sort of people that want to start with a casual approach. What you're going to find is if you go online and start searching around, they're going to mine you for information. If you Google just what are today's interest rates on a 30-year FHA loan or something, they're going to start asking you for all kind of details before they'll share that information. That goes into some pipeline, and then you get inundated with people trying to pressure you into loan applications. You don't want to start doing all that and pulling your credit till you're ready. So the first thing, if you reach out to Stockton, you're going to get a human being that's going to actually call you back or get in touch with you, and y'all can just talk about it. They'll know instinctively and through their education what the programs are, what might fit your situation, because we all come at it differently. Some people are first-time buyers. Some of y'all are getting ready for the holidays. You don't want to run up a bunch of credit cards. You've got a little equity you could cash out. Other things, maybe you want to solidify old debt. And it's smart to have a pregame before you fully engage, and they'll help you with that in a very personal way. Even if you want to tighten up your credit a little bit and let them help you move this or pay off that. And you may have things on there. I had this before where there was something on there. It was some old $600 medical bill from 7 years ago I'd never heard of that you got to go trace down. And those things are good to check on every now and then. They'll help you with that at Stockton. And then get you in line to go ahead and get the application in and get you to the goal line, which is the close. It's where we all want to be. SaveWithStockton.com, SaveWithStockton.com. Y'all reach out to them. All right, one more look at the weather. We're standing here and get the old trusty weather app with the best radar and see where we are, because it is starting to affect part of the listening area. It's edging right into Tuscaloosa, kind of has a little bow shape to it, and this thing's packing a punch on the front side of it. If you put it in motion and I try to pause it somewhere near Birmingham, it'll be over the Birmingham Metro before 8 o'clock. So we've got about an hour and 20 minutes or maybe a little longer before we're dealing with potential heavy rain throughout the Metro. Should blow through this evening, probably by 10, but then we have another round that sets up in the morning that could be strong on its own. It looks like to me, though, based on some of this forecasting for tomorrow, that then we got a third round really that could come through tomorrow evening, probably about the same time as today. And that one, there's only a 50-50 chance of that, and you may not get underneath it. It's not as organized as the first round, but it will. It could pack a punch as well with some high winds and some heavy downpours. So again, just to give you the synopsis of all that, scattered beginning at about 8 o'clock tonight for most of you, and then on and off through tomorrow. Not a complete washout. We may even see some sun for a little while tomorrow, which may be the biggest contributor to that situation of the more intense storms in the evening because of the heat of the day. So here we go, summertime storms, and it's hard to believe, but tomorrow is August the 1st, man. We are getting close to everything. I saw a graphic today that really is starting to be eye-popping, and that is the midterm elections, which are getting a lot of attention right now, and they always seem so far off. There's some states that are still going through their primary process, but if I remember the graphic right, we're only 95 days out from the midterms, which have so much consequence for this country, everything from all the Spanish invasion stuff we're talking about today and some of these other things. The Trump agenda obviously gets completely paralyzed if the Democrats win any of the chambers, because they'll use that power. They know how to use that power. Now, it's hard to gauge because midterms are different than even a national election when you've got presidential contenders. Let me just do some politics before we get out the door today and throw a couple other little political type stories in there. When you're dealing with individual congressional races on districts, as we now know from all the district fighting that are drawn in these arbitrary and sometimes intentional shapes, some people don't even know what district they're in. We all know what state we're in for the most part, but some people don't know exactly where the district lines are, and they move all the time. They moved a lot this year. So it's harder to get a gauge on the personality of those districts. You can run all the demographics you want, but the districts are different than whole states. So let's just talk about the whole states. They're a little more predictable. And right now, there's several rounds of polling that are out today. Granted, I think it's a little early and it's a little propagandish, but it's all we've got to go on. But the Democrats have edges in Senate races that is kind of surprising, like in the state of Texas, where they're running that little beta male soy bitch, Tallarico. He's got about a 2-point edge. That would be of great concern if I thought that was going to hold. Similar things like that, where Democrats as disorganized and dysfunctional and off-brand as they've become with the mainstream of this country. There are other things at play, including the fact that the Republicans have the incumbency in the presidency. And if people aren't satisfied with the track of the country, whether it's logical or not, they will run in the opposite direction of whoever's in charge in the White House. No matter the fact, gas prices, for example, let's talk about the logic there. So gas prices are up. A lot of people are predicating their decision on the uncomfortable feeling you feel when you got to go fill up your car at the pumps. And so, yes, they're high, and we know why they're high. There's a direct cause and effect of the gas prices being high because there's a bigger picture thing going on in the Middle East. Whether you support that or not, that's the cause of it, and we all understand that. But what are you going to do? Vote for Democrats who spent the last 4 years when they had power in the White House attacking the oil industry. These are the people that are trying to put the oil companies out of business and make you drive a car that runs on dreams and mouse farts. They'll be back to that stuff. Their whole goal was to drive up gas prices and make it unaffordable so you would consider the electric alternatives in their fantasy over climate change, which most of them have dropped that now because of the AI wars. They're trying to be on the right side of that. So they've given up on their the straw man thing they put out there for years over climate change. Not to mention a bunch of that's gotten debunked and fraudulent stuff's been exposed to how we were being propagandized, just like COVID through that era, through fear politics in that era. But the bottom line, the point is logic would dictate, why would I exchange, if it's all about gas prices, why would I take a guy who's got a temporary situation, who's pro drilling and pro production and trying to get the world off the back of these companies that are providing this product to us, that are bringing it to us, yes, for a profit, but that's how we get stuff, is profit. Without profit, they don't go in business and we don't get oil and we all die. You understand that, right? So logic would dictate, why just go, I'm mad at Trump about the gas, so I'm going to put the Democrats in charge who want to set all the gas stations on fire and put the oil companies out of business. How's that going to work for you? So some people aren't logical. They're emotional about their reaction to these races. And then it comes down to, and I've always, tried to preach this as much as I can, it's the quality of the candidates. The year the Republicans were pounding their chest over this red wave that they thought they were going to have, and I forget what year that was, it was all the talk. It didn't happen because the candidates sucked. The rhinos were still running the party at the time, and their candidates were emerging through the primary process, and Republicans had a bunch of milquetoast people that just were not inspirational. So it's going to come down to the quality of some of these nominees that have now survived the primary process in these swing areas. And I got news for y'all. There's only 19 of those congressional districts that are really in play right now, the way we draw districts in the country that are up for grabs, and they could absolutely go either way. If I had to guess, I would say, despite their dysfunction, the Democrats, out of pure anger right now and frustration, have a motivation to get out. Yes, they're fighting with each other and demoralized, but there's more energy over there all of a sudden than some of the MAGA folks who are disappointed in the SAVE Act not passing, the laziness of the United States Republican senators, and some of the House members that haven't carried the ball well. The messaging is a little off. Trump is still the lead messenger, but he's going to have to light a fire, and they're going to have to, even though they've got a money advantage, I'm not very comfortable that they're even still in a position to win what they need to win to preserve the last 2 years of the Trump presidency. Not to mention the cheating that goes on that we haven't fixed because these fools won't pass the SAVE Act in the Senate. You got this jerk off John Cornyn over in Texas, endorsed by our Senator Katie Britt, who got his ass whipped in Texas, and he's on this revenge tour, holding up Trump nominees, welching on some of the other things. Meantime, some of the other senators are posing like they're going to stay there through August, which they're not. So it's just a lot of theater from all sides. It's hard. It really is. This is probably one of the more difficult midterms to predict because polling isn't close enough to be accurate yet. Democrats keep doing things that in any other time and any other definition of American history would disqualify them as a party. Their embrace of socialists and the lunatics they're putting up, these terrorist-oriented candidates in the Midwest. They've even got this Maine guy, and I got it on my list today, and I didn't even want to get into it. I can't even remember his name. So they had to throw the Nazi woman beater out in Maine. They're trying to go after Susan Collins. They found some replacement, and some random dude. They found to replace him in this perverted process of replacement in that kooky little state of Maine. Turns out this guy has been banging his second cousin for years, and they got 2 kids. What? Wait, what? Wait, what? And they make fun of the South. This guy has been doing the horizontal refreshment with his own cousin, and they reproduce children, and he's their guy. Did they not have anybody in Maine that's just, I don't know, Joe down at the hardware store that's a pretty decent guy? You know, just can they find one of the... So it's entertaining from a talk show host perspective. I've had a lot of fun this year watching all this calamity. But it's for somebody that's worried about the fate of the country, this is a weird jump ball season that we're in. And we don't know what world events, by the way, and y'all know all this. It's just worth going over before we get back into we start getting into a steady flow of things when kids go back to school and our lives and the news cycle itself kind of resets itself after summer vacation. And so we're heading into that zone where the news will get more serious and a lot of stuff will start going down and these campaigns will start getting more invigorated, money spent, and the chaos starts. And we're in that little 90-day window or so before all that hits. But you know, there's all these dynamics. It's the Trump factor, MAGA Nation not being fired up and being a little bit demoralized, the Democrats having a civil war and being hijacked by the Bolsheviks, these fruitcake candidates that they're putting up, these PR disasters, fundraising disasters, and all that on their side, and just lethargy on the Republican side. It is hard to predict. And that's not a cop-out. If I had to sit down and you held me at gunpoint and made me pick races, I'd have a difficult time because it's such a moving target right now in the country. Not trying to alarm you, but just trying to go over it one good time. Those conditions could change in 30 days. And like I was just mentioning, world events. We could have a major earthquake or some other international incident where the country rallies. Trump even pointed it out today, this situation in Spain. He called it a talking point, but it is an issue that needs to be front and center for all the Republicans and him based on the pro-American agenda to seal the borders and protect us from these kinds of invasions. That needs to be all they talk about next week. It really does. Storm restoration roofing. Let's talk, man. They just about got it ready for Greg to come on out of the house and get the roof on my project. I think we're just a couple weeks away from that and get all dried in. And he's who I trust. I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I'm excited about those phases of the project when my folks get in here from the radio show that really know their stuff. Greg's been at it for 30 years. So just like for me, he can do a brand new install. Some of y'all have an existing roof and you need to get that replaced. Some of you may have some new construction, you need a roof. And then the other equation, and that could pop up even tonight in a couple of hours, is a sudden storm, whether there's sticks and wind and hail and all the things that can shake your shingles loose. And suddenly you've got a problem. Greg's good like that too. He'll come get you dried out, tarped up, and then you can take your time. There's a window there to apply for insurance coverage, and you got to do it correctly. And that's where their expertise, not only in the install itself and putting in the quality stuff and doing it correctly, but working with your company so you don't get flim-flammed and the insurance company doesn't get flim-flammed, because you don't want to lose your policy or make a claim that's not legit. Greg will help you do all that properly. He and his team, his family, have worked with all these companies. They know all the requirements, and they'll get up there and get you on a speedier path to a quality roof job. Some of y'all don't have any trouble with your roof right now, and you're not expecting any, but in the meantime, let's all have this number where we can get to it just in case it is an emergency scenario. It's Storm Restoration Roofing, 205 542 3531. 205 542 3531. Storm Restoration Roofing. Back in a minute. Guess we're all about to do that here in just a little bit as we wrap up the show. Tapco, next sponsor up. I still got to visit with them next week. I got an oil change a little overdue on the truck. I'm going to work that out next week. This has been kind of a hectic week trying to return to normalcy here at the house, but I do trust Michael with all our stuff nowadays. And it was after I got to know him and toured the shop, and he came on the show. And of course, he's close with Craig over at Birmingham Broker, and anybody that gets a personal reference from Craig is a good dude. And I'm telling you, his shop is so professional and so straightforward. when you walk in there, you'll see it's just a clean, nice, organized shop, very professional atmosphere. This is where you want to take your car. Cars are rolling computers, super expensive and sophisticated nowadays, and it's not as easy as back in the day when me and my papa could get out there for a couple of hours and tinker till we figured it out. Everything's different now. It's no longer just fuel, air, and spark. It's a lot of components, and you got to have the tools and the experience and the skill set to dial down and find those ghosts in the machine when it happens. So here's my advice: get to know Michael and his team at Tapco by just taking your car by there for the routine stuff, because we all have those things to do on occasion, oil changes and some of the other maintenance. And then when you really do have an issue or they discover something for you, you've got an honest shop that'll get it done and get it done quickly. They've even got a courtesy vehicle, and they'll give you a ride back to work if it's within reason. Not if you work in Montgomery or anything, but if it's around town, they'll give you a little shuttle ride, work on your car, and reconnect you to the vehicle, and then you're good to go. That's a great shop. Get to know them. It's Tapco, T-A-P-C-O, T-A-P-C-O, TapcoBeham.com, TapcoBeham.com. Just trying to wrap up here, make sure I didn't miss anything. I had something on my mind and then completely slipped my mind before I could get going again. Let me see if I've covered it all. I've talked enough about the Spanish stuff. One more recap on the weather, and that is we're just a little bit, maybe an hour and a half out from some pretty serious weather here tonight. No real tornado threat or anything, but strong storms on the way in and rounds of it between now and tomorrow evening on and off. So, again, work around that. Sunday looks better, and I think we've got this chance to get some drier air in here, which I kind of felt today. The humidity backed off a little bit. Y'all know how it is. We still got August to get through, so get ready for that. Let me look through. Oh, Carol Robinson, I was going to mention this too, and I appreciate our listeners pointing me to this, because I don't want to get on the show unprepared in a complex story like this without having had a chance to read it. But they've got a piece up about this Joran Vandersloot case, or the Natalie Holloway case, and how it looks like that case was botched from the beginning. And some of that happened right here in the FBI office out of Birmingham. And that story is going to be with us and has been with us for years. So many people know the family and remember how that happened. Those young women that were part of that trip in that age are all kind of grown now. And it's just, even though we understand, we pretty much all got this feeling of who done it. There's still so many mysteries left. And of course, she never returned. And I'm going to dig into that story this weekend and try to understand what I can about it. We just did not have time. One of our listeners asked, what do you think about that reporting? I just didn't get a chance to read the whole story, but truth kind of reveals itself, kind of like Fauci this week. Eventually it will all come to light. And I hope so in this case too. Lonnie's Furniture Company, one last sponsor. If you're looking for something to do tomorrow with this on again, off again weather, go do some indoor activities up at Lonnie's. It will take you a minute, even if you have to drive a long way. I would give myself some serious time to walk around that store, because like every time I've ever shopped there, you're going to miss something. You're going to do a lap, maybe not see exactly what you're looking at. Then you're going to find 5 things, and then you're going to do another lap, and it's going to jump back out at you because it's that big. There's so much to look at. It's all good quality, beautiful stuff. And you've got options at Lonnie's. And right now, Reggie reached out this week, said they've got the best finance extension of the best finance option for you they've ever had, 48 months with no interest. Ask them how that works, because you got to have, you got to be credit approved and minimum purchase, and you got to make your payments, but they can give you an interest-free deal for up to 48 months. You can haul home a lot of furniture that way. Heck, they'll even bring it to you at Lonnie's Furniture Company, L-A-U-N-I-U-S, Lonnie'sFurnitureCompany.com in Kimberly, Alabama, off exit 280. I'm heading on to a cerveza and a weekend. Y'all stay tuned for Breaking Bread with AJ.
Goodbye, AJ.